how much money or assets do I need to have for a trust to make sense? So, this is where we want to think about, does it make sense? There are no easy solutions, there are only trade offs. It costs money, time, and effort to set up a trust. Are you going to get anything out of it? Well, maybe. And so, this is where we start thinking about, does it make sense? So, let's think about, why are we setting this trust up? If you're setting it up for yourself, even putting aside the asset protection question, you're not trying to protect assets from your creditors. Would you set up a revocable management trust for yourself? We start thinking about this if we're worried about a few things. You're not going to get any special tax benefits by having assets in a revocable trust. What you may get, though, is a simpler time avoiding a guardianship of your estate, because the trustee will own the assets. If you lose capacity because of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, something that's degenerative, and will leave you without the ability to manage your own assets, you're going to want to look at that, because even if you don't have anything, it'll save your family the cost and expense of a guardianship of your estate. That makes sense. Additionally, you may think about a revocable trust because your assets, let's say you just have your house and a car, and you want to make sure that your family, your children, whoever it is, when you pass, you want to minimize the chance that they're going to fight over things and spend more money fighting about it than actually enjoying the benefits. You want to provide for who's going to get it with the minimum of fuss and fighting. And so there's not really a minimum per se, but what are we trying to avoid? What are we thinking about? The other way I think about it is, well, long do we want this trust to stick around? In estate planning, we think about it in kind of three different time horizons. One, how much will be in that trust when the beneficiary turns 25? How much will be there when they die? And as the 2 points to think about. Now, when we're thinking about the age 25 cutoff, really what I'm thinking about is, let's get the beneficiary, generally children, families with small children. How much will they have if parents died right now? After we pay for, collect all the assets, what's this child's share? Get the child through college, out of college. They turn 25. They're about the right age to start making their own decisions and probably managing those assets. Now, if there's going to be less than $500,000 in that trust when the beneficiary turns age 25, I generally say, look, just give them the rest of the assets. Why? We're getting to the point where it doesn't really make sense to keep those assets around. We don't want to spend the money on accounting and legal fees just to keep a trust around. We're better off just handing those assets over to the beneficiary. If they spend the money, there's $400,000 left at age 25, and we turn it over to them and they spend the money on candy, cigarettes, Fabergé eggs, and Maseratis. You got them through college. They're going to be in a better spot anyway. They will have learned a lesson. Yes, they will have spent the money on all that stuff they probably shouldn't have, but you're not tying them to a trust long term. The other thing I think about is, well, do we want to avoid some estate tax issues for the beneficiary? And so, likewise, age 25 is another cutoff. Sticking with that, if there's going to be more than $2 million, then I want to say, well, we probably want to keep this trust around and add in some additional protections so that we're not paying estate tax on it later in life. So kind of think it as three ranges. Low range, if it's under $500,000 at age 25, we're going to just kick it out at age 25. If it's between that half a million and 2 million, we'll keep it around for their lifetime, but we're not going to worry about estate and gift tax issues. Just where the numbers are right now, that's an amount that's obviously significant, but not so much that we need to do a lot of heavy estate planning for it. And then finally, if it's going to be over $2 million, we're thinking long term. This is a trust where the beneficiary is probably not going to spend it all in their lifetime. So again, how much do you need to have for a trust to make sense? It's going to depend on your specific circumstances. How much are you, is this trust for you? Are you trying to avoid some fights? You may scooch that line down and say, hey, there's not much here, but I'm looking to avoid bigger costs later on. If we're thinking about how much does it make sense for a beneficiary, I think about it in kind of these three ranges of less than half a million, in which case we just kind of kick it out, over that half a million, but under 2 million, it's worth it to keep it around, but probably not beyond that. And then over 2 million, we're starting to think about estate tax issues.